The sound of crystal breaking is sharper than you think. It's not like in movies, dramatic and clean. It's messier, unpredictable, like the sound of something that can't be undone. That's what I remember most from that night, the shatter. Not from the glass I dropped, but from the life that cracked with it. 32 years of marriage. And I didn't recognize the man sitting across from me anymore. His name was Daniel Royce, venture capitalist, father, husband, liar. My name, Clara Royce, used to come second to his in every introduction. Now it was the only name I could trust. The restaurant was dim, as they always are when money is meant to look tasteful. A jazz trio played in the corner, all low notes and soft pretense. Daniel lifted his glass, eyes gleaming the way they used to when he'd land a deal. "To new horizons," he said, smiling. It was the kind of smile that used to make me weak. Now it made me nauseous. The woman beside him, Sophie Hale, was barely 30, if that. Her hand rested on his sleeve like it belonged there. She laughed softly, the kind of laugh people rehearse in mirrors when they know someone's watching. I didn't even need her to speak. I already knew everything. I'd known for months. About the business trips that didn't exist, the hotel charges he thought I wouldn't notice, the new phone line, the secret account under Hale Consulting. I'd known long enough to prepare. He didn't toast to me. He didn't even look at me. So I raised my own glass, smiled a smile that hurt to hold, and said, "To clarity." Daniel finally turned, frown flickering just slightly. "Too late. I withdrew every cent from the accounts this morning," I said quietly, and filed the motion. The house, the firm, the cars, all frozen. "Effective immediately," Sophie blinked. Daniel froze. I could hear the jazz fading behind the pounding in my ears. He opened his mouth, but I kept going. "And by the way, Sophie," I looked right at her, "I do hope you're prepared for your maternity leave." "You'll need it." Her hand twitched off his arm. Daniel's face turned white. Because he hadn't told me. Because he thought he could hide her pregnancy too. I stood, smoothed the napkin on my lap, and placed it on the table like a folded flag over a grave. "Our marriage died years ago," I said. "I'm just signing the death certificate." I walked out before he could speak. Outside, the night air was cold, almost metallic. I didn't feel free. Not yet. I felt empty. Like someone had scooped out 30 years and left me hollow, but I also felt something else. A tremor, faint but alive, the first pulse of power. The motel off I-10 smelled like bleach and forgotten lives. I paid cash. Checked in under my mother's maiden name, Clara Evans. I sat on the edge of the bed and let the silence catch up with me. The phone buzzed. I ignored it. I pulled out the folder I'd spent weeks assembling, bank statements, business ledgers, fake invoices, shell companies Daniel had built to move money through Sophie's so-called consulting firm. Every lie cataloged, documented, time-stamped. The company had been built on my labor. My spreadsheets, my client relationships, my patience. He'd called me his anchor. He forgot anchors can drag you down when you try to sail away. By midnight, I'd transferred the evidence to a flash drive labeled Glass House, because that's what his empire was. All facade, and I was holding the stone. 2 weeks earlier, I'd gone to a storage unit he thought I didn't know existed. Unit 118, Rosedale Storage, registered under Hale Logistics. I cracked it open and nearly laughed. Inside, boxes of invoices, burner phones, and old hard drives, Daniel's shadow archive. It wasn't just the affair. It was money laundering, tax fraud. Sophie wasn't just a lover. She was a partner in crime. I remember sitting on that concrete floor under flickering lights, files spread around me like the aftermath of a storm. And I thought, this is what betrayal looks like. Not dramatic, just dusty. That night, I made a choice. Not to destroy him, to expose him. When I filed for divorce, the clerk didn't look twice at me. Just another woman untangling her life from a man's. But when the injunction hit the firm, Daniel's face on the evening news told a different story. Financial misconduct allegations surface against Royce Capital's CEO. His empire began to crack. Clients withdrew. Partners panicked. And then, the part I didn't plan, the press found me. They wanted a quote, a statement, a soundbite. I gave them one. Men like Daniel don't just cheat on their wives. They cheat on everyone who ever believed in them. It went viral. Sophie's Instagram went private that night. Daniel's board voted to suspend him, pending investigation. I didn't smile. Not yet. The first time Daniel called, I almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. "Clara," he hissed, "what the hell have you done?" "What you taught me to do," I said. "Negotiate. You're destroying everything." "No, Daniel. You destroyed it. I'm just turning on the lights." Silence. "You think this makes you strong?" he said finally. I laughed softly. "No, this makes me free." Then I hung up. Freedom, it turns out, is a strange thing. It doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in fragments. The first morning you wake up and realize you didn't dream of him. The first meal you eat without setting a place for two. The first night you sleep and don't wake to the sound of your own anger. I rented a small apartment in Long Beach. White walls, wide windows, sunlight that didn't ask for permission to exist. I bought myself a single coffee mug, heavy and imperfect. Every morning I filled it and said out loud, "Mine," just to remind myself. 3 weeks later, the second headline hit. Federal investigation launched into Royce Capital. My evidence had done its job. The anonymous tip, me, had triggered the audit. Daniel's carefully curated life began to disintegrate, one subpoena at a time. Sophie left him. Moved back to Oregon. Pregnant, alone, and apparently shocked to learn Daniel's promises didn't come with guarantees. I didn't feel pity, just inevitability, but there was one thing I didn't expect. Letters. Dozens of them. From women, men, assistants, accountants, people Daniel had underpaid, silenced, humiliated. They all said the same thing. "You gave me the courage to speak," and that somehow meant more than the revenge ever did. The day the indictment came down, I stood by the ocean. Gray waves, cold wind. The radio said Daniel Royce was facing up to 20 years. I didn't cheer. I didn't cry. I just watched the tide pull away and thought, that's what he tried to do to me. Pull me under, but I was still standing. Months passed. A publisher reached out. They wanted my story. Not the scandal, the survival. I almost said no. Then I thought of all the women who'd written to me, whispering through their pain. So I said yes. The book was called The Glass House, What They Tried to Shatter. It wasn't about Daniel. It was about me. About rebuilding. About walking through the ruins and realizing the walls were never mine to begin with. It became a bestseller. Daniel wrote me a letter from jail. Handwritten, smug even on paper. He ended it with, "You'll never be free of me, Clara. I made you who you are." I tore it up. He was wrong. He didn't make me. He broke me. And I built myself from the pieces. A year later, I bought a little house in Carmel. Glass walls, overlooking the sea. Irony wasn't lost on me. People still call it the glass house, but this one doesn't hide anything. It shines. Some nights I sit by the window with a glass of wine and watch the lights fade along the coast. I think about the girl I used to be, the one who believed love was measured in sacrifice. She's gone now. In her place stands someone harder, truer, alive. And when the waves crash against the rocks below, I smile. Because for the first time in my life, the breaking sounds beautiful.